Okay. Wow. Hello, everyone. I am Paula Stewart. I am here with Maike. We're going to chat today about mindful eating, something that I was very curious about, and I will talk to Maike because I know her for a little bit. She's been helping me with some stuff, about mindfulness and meditation and things like that. She's amazing. And we were chatting one day, and I said, we should do a chat about that since a lot of people are interested in fitness and how to be healthy and all of that. So we want her to give us some tips and give us some information about what mindful eating is, and just to get, our heads a little bit into that and, start a routine that is easy, is no hard at all. It's just, I call it living in the moment, like just doing mindful things every day. So we're going to start with that. So I have some questions for Maike. So it's going to be like a mini interview today. So first, Maike, introduce yourself and let us know.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much, Paula, for inviting me to this. I think it's really great, and especially that it's via Zoom, because I really love also that we can interact, and ask questions and so on. So thank you so much. So yeah, I created Smile O'Clock. That's my little brand that I created last year, actually. I'm a meditation and mindfulness teacher. And so I use different meditation and mindfulness techniques to help women find their way in life, like improve their relationships that they're surrounded with, basically find their life purpose, build self-esteem, and so on. And it was inspired by my personal experience because I've been working in the corporate world for a very long time, and there was a lot of international travel involved, a lot of social events. I think here, especially in Barcelona, there's always a lot going on. And I really did not know much about mental health, about myself, prioritizing myself, or what that even means. So one day I actually became quite sick, and I couldn't leave my bed for, I think it was more than 2 months. And that time I really went into myself, and I asked myself, why is this happening? Why is my immune system so weak? And this is really when I started meditation, when I started mindfulness, I started reading about self-development and all of that. And I realized that I was a very, very big people pleaser. I did not really know what my needs were, and I did not really prioritize them. Meditation and mindfulness has then helped me to overcome that and to change from, like I say, a people pleaser to a me pleaser, prioritizing my needs, and yeah, like feeling fulfilled in what I do. And now it's really my big dream to bring these amazing tools to as many women as I can. And that is why I'm here also today. So this really goes through all different areas of life. And of course, eating is one part of it.
Great. So can you talk a little bit about what mindful eating is and what does it mean? Many people, they think it's hard, but it's not, so we just want to know what it is.
Yeah. So mindful eating is just really being aware, like being in the present, like you already said in the beginning. It's about being aware, paying attention to eating. So it is really using all of our senses, our nose to smell the food, our mouth to taste the food, our ears to hear when we eat, our hands when we touch the food. So it's really about using all the senses, being there in the present moment, and really focusing on the food and on the experience of eating. And when I say that, it is in a completely non-judgmental way, completely without analyzing, without thinking about any new ideas or anything. It's really just about observing the food and what is happening in our body as we eat.
It's interesting because I actually heard about there are different types of this one called intuitive eating and this mindful eating.
Yes, exactly.
What is the difference between those two, for example?
Yes. So intuitive eating is taking mindful eating basically to the next step. So intuitive eating kind of needs mindful eating in order to, I would say, work, because intuitive eating, they kind of is kind of a framework that basically says that we have to listen to our body when we eat. So by looking at all the cues that our body is giving us, for example, when we're hungry, when we're full, but also when we're driven by emotions to eat, or when we're not driven by emotions to eat. So intuitive eating is all about finding these cues in our body and then responding to it through eating. And that also means that intuitive eating actually completely rejects all types of diets. Because like people that like to do intuitive eating or that like to follow intuitive eating, they really believe that just by listening to our body, we will give our body what the body needs. And by doing so, we will be healthy. And there's no such thing as having too much weight or not of having of being too skinny, of being overweight or anything. It's really all about just listening and having the mind body connection. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, because when you say mind and body connection, it's about like also reacting what you feel, you know, what you have when you eat something, what reactions you get from that food. Like there's so many
Exactly.
applications right now, and I guess people, you know, they don't know how to listen to their bodies, and they don't know, why am I getting sick? You know, like it's funny because
Yes.
you know, and then it's because they are not listening to their bodies. It's like, well, I had this to eat last, and then my body did this, you know.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That what are the benefits of mindful eating? What benefits do you get from doing this every day?
So there's a lot of research on this whole topic now, and of course it's still in initial stages. So like it's still like a process, but so far the benefits that it really has shown is that it will help us to listen to our body and know when we're hungry and when we're not hungry, and as a result we can stop overeating, for example, or under eating. So it can really help us to regulate in that sense. And there's even some research that suggests that our level of cortisol in our body is actually reduced. So cortisol is the hormone that is directly linked to our stress level, right? So it can even really help us to reduce our heart rate, our stress level, and this is kind of linked again also to, in general, meditation and mindfulness, right? Because these are benefits that have been seen also in other types of meditations and mindfulness. So here I think this is also a really great side effect, that it also really influences our stress level, and just in general, I think it really is also, for example, for my, like, I also host a lot of workshops and I do one-on-one coaching, right? And the eating meditation for me is always the perfect introduction to meditation and mindfulness, actually, because we can do it everywhere and it already trains our mind to be more mindful, to meditate, and so it's also, I think, a really great initial start to becoming more mindful in general in life, and be in the present.
Okay, so there's so many benefits, like you said, like about like losing your appetite a little bit. Now, not by losing, but controlling, you know, when you overeating, which is also sometimes caused by anxiety, you know, so things that not really, you're not really hungry, but you eat because you just don't know what to do sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you talk
Exactly.
maybe a little bit more about that?
Yes. Yes. So I think this is actually one of the biggest parts. Emotions and eating, right? Emotions and eating can become very dangerous because we all know this feeling. Our day didn't go so well. We got some bad news, and so we're treating ourselves with our favorite foods, which can sometimes be great, but only if we know when to stop, right? And this can, like mindful eating, can help us to notice when our body is full. Then, so it's really about, of course, treating ourselves. This is kind of like, it's completely incorporated in the whole concept of mindful eating. It's really giving our body what we need and what we want, but kind of like disconnecting it from the emotion that's behind and just really focusing on the physical sensations that we have. So kind of finding your limits.
Interesting, because the mind and body connection is so powerful. Like you said, it's not only listening to your body, but also listening to your feelings. Why
Yes.
am I feeling like that? And then why am I eating? So then it's kind of understanding your mind and body together why you're doing that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now what easy tip do you have to build a mindful eating habit? You know, that is easy, that we can just do it easily.
Yeah.
We don't have to think about it. We can just do it easy.
Yeah. So I think one really great tip that has helped me personally a lot is to eliminate distractions. And I think this is something that's also maybe the toughest, right? It's really difficult because
Right.
yeah, exactly. I'm exactly thinking about the phone, the TV. We're kind of used, or like a lot of us are used to eating in front of the TV, right? In front of our favorite show. Or we're used to having our phone next to us. Um, so like kind of eliminating all distractions that would keep us from being with the food, like that would keep us from being present with the experience of eating. Um, and then also, another thing is like some people even say that you should eat in silence. So this would be maybe the most extreme part. Me myself, I kind of did a little adaptation. So I kind of decided to only talk about the food. So because when we talk about the food, we're still with the food, right? But as soon as we talk about other things, we're again gone, like we're somewhere else, but not with the experience of eating. So this can really help to kind of establish a little rule at the table, like to really just when we talk, just talk about the food. Of course, it also has to be practical. So, for example, me myself, I implement a routine that works for me. So I don't do it for all my meals. I just do it for some of my meals. Or maybe another adaptation that could work is just doing it for the first few minutes or the last few minutes. You know, it's like really about finding what works best for you, because of course, oftentimes meals are also the time when you get together with a family. So you want to exchange as well, right? So in contrast to that, if you live alone, maybe it's easier. So it's really about finding what's working best for you and adapting it to your schedule. But you can always put it in like little parts, right? Like I said, like maybe some minutes of your meal you can really use on only talking about the food, or maybe even in eating in silence. And then I would say another thing that really has helped me is to make sure that I take time for my food, because I mean, and this is also really hard sometimes, right? Depending on the jobs that we have, on the routines that we have. But if we really want to be with the food, we cannot be thinking about the next meeting we have or the next thing we have to do. Like this really is distracting us as well, right? So
Yeah.
it really helps to block your calendar at that time if you're like having a full-time job that is taking a lot of time from you, for example, or really setting, like making a fixed time with your family when you come together and you eat, and there's nothing that can go against that rule. So I think this has really helped me as well, like establishing like a fixed routine and taking the time for it.
Yeah, taking the time for it. So
Yeah.
said try to eliminate distractions like technology, people try to do it in silence, not talking too much about it because you keep overeating.
Yeah.
When you're eating. Like, what about when you're with people, like your family or things? I tend to eat sometimes less with my kids than when I'm with other people, it depends. So it really
True that.
depends. Yeah, exactly. Who
True
you
that.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I want to finish also is about, now that you give us some tips, will you give us also a little bit of overview of what mindfulness is? And then after this, we can have the Q&A, like maybe you guys have any questions, and then we can do an exercise. Yeah, how's that?
Great. That sounds great. So mindfulness is basically, it's a modern implementation of meditation, and meditation goes back to thousands and thousands of years, right? It's part of a religion. And so what has happened is that now meditation has been introduced into the Western world, and this is what we call meditation, because it has been adapted to our lifestyle, and now it's different than it was back then, right? And it's also been made more, I would say, practical to use it as well. And what it is about is to basically train our mind to focus our attention. And so what usually happens, or what I usually always like to talk about in that context, is that actually our mind wanders 50% of our wake hours. So our mind is basically on autopilot without us knowing 50% of our day that we're awake. And that time, our mind is thinking about the past or the future, about anything, but not the present moment. And different studies have shown that actually, when people are in the present moment, they're always happier than when they think about the past or the future, even if their mind goes to positive events in the past or future. So that is the whole motivation behind meditation and mindfulness, that that we want to be, everybody wants to be happy, right? So in order to be the happiest we can be, we want to be in the present moment. And this is what happens when we're mindful, because we retrain our mind, our attention to be focused. And what happens is that as soon as we notice that our mind wanders somewhere, we just notice that. That's already the first step, because as I said, 50% of the time we actually don't even notice that our mind wanders. So we notice that the mind wanders off, and then we bring it back to any focal point. Like, for example, for the eating meditation, it's the food. If we do like maybe a breathing exercise, it would be the breath. So we will bring it back to any focal point, and then later we will notice again that our mind wanders off. We bring it back to a focal point, and we do it again and again and again. We do it a lot of times. And in our mind, the connection between the neurons will be strengthened more and more and more, the more often we bring back our mind. And at some point, that connection is so strong that we will build a habit. And that is a habit of focusing our attention wherever we want it to be. And crazy enough is that actually this already happens. Most research has shown after 8 weeks of being mindful, meditating only 13 minutes a day. So it's not even crazy. And it really is also really helpful. For example, when we want to focus on a presentation, for example, we have to make a presentation. It happens to all of us, right? That our mind just goes crazy, goes somewhere else, and then the minutes pass, the hours pass, and somehow we thought about anything but the presentation. So it can also help us in these situations, because through mindfulness and meditation, we have trained our minds to be with the presentation. So it would be easier for us also to focus our attention on things like that. Also, for example, if we want to listen to a friend, oftentimes I think we all catch ourselves that we're listening to someone and actually we're in our mind already somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
That's
this can also really help. Yeah, so it's really mindfulness is all about training our attention to be wherever we want our attention to be, without analyzing, without coming up with any ideas, without interpreting anything, without making assumption. It's really just to train our mind to be wherever we want our mind to be.
So turn your attention inward, yeah, like inside.
Yes, exactly.
Distractions outside.
Yes.
Just your attention on your bodily emotion,
Yes.
your feeling, your breathing, whatever your body is feeling in that moment. And
Yes.
to try to keep, away from those distractions by focusing on your body. So
yes, exactly. This can really help us.
Keep in mind that, Maike, when I started talking to her, they have little monkey mind, and it's true. Many people.
Yeah. Yes. The monkey mind. Yes. Definitely.
Well, now we can, really, kind of connect the dots and see what mindfulness is and what mindful eating is. So now, if you guys have any questions, let me unmute everyone. That's new. You guys, can you unmute yourself? Okay, no, I see one is unmuted. Yeah, there you go. So, do you guys have any questions about?
Well, to me, I do practice meditation. It's very hard for me. So I have a meditation coach because I have a parrot. It's always working. So to me, sitting down 30 minutes is hell with myself. But I'm working on it. And then mindfulness for me in eating, I totally agree, because I suffer anxiety. So sometimes eating certain things, it makes you feel better. But then sometimes you just want more and more and more. It doesn't really help you at the end, because you just get to wanting, it's a small pleasure, and then you want another small pleasure, and then you want another more pleasure. So it's never over. That's why we need mindfulness. For me, the question is, do you prepare like a week for mindfulness eating? Normally, is that what you do? Yeah.
Yeah. So how I usually do the mindfulness eating is I try to start my meals with like the first, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes really eating mindfully. And for me personally, like what works best is my lunch times. I don't know, like I kind of figured out here in Barcelona, we always have dinners with people, or like, it's very difficult for me to find the time for myself then. So I realized lunch is a time where I can kind of be with myself, and I have them, like it's the easiest not to have any distractions. So what I do is I use every day my lunchtime to do the mindful eating, and I set myself a timer like for 5 to 10 minutes, and during those 5 to 10 minutes I do the mindful eating, and I always have every day my schedule always blocked for lunchtime, so I have between 1 or 2, but it can be like anytime, so I just try to be as consistent as possible.
Okay. So yeah, for example, for me, last year I did with a nutritionist for weight loss. So I did like a plan for 3 months. You do achieve, it's boring, and then but I'm not planning to live all my life like that. So I did a course of nutrition for weight loss, and then I just don't want to live like that. I refuse to be 40 plus, I'm being in I would love to be always in mindfulness, but you know, to me, it's like how many years I have left of actually quality life? 15, 20, you know? So to me, okay, diet, to me, that shouldn't be forever. I woman, we all the time in a diet, but as you say, I agree with you, the mindfulness eating, you can be like that forever because it's just a lifestyle, no?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Lunch thing for you, but for some people it would be, oh, well, I do breakfast and lunch like that, you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And I think also, so I really time myself for lunch, but I try to still do it also on all my other meals. So and also for the rest of the lunchtime. So because as soon as I really kind of force myself to do it every lunchtime for 5 to 10 minutes, I get reminded anytime also whenever I eat anything else, right? So it's always in my mind like that. And at some point it becomes just automatic. So now I actually, anytime I eat something, especially if it's something really nice, I always also say out loud, oh my God, like I really, really love this food. I just want to take it all in. And then I really specifically go very slow and like really try to do it, even if there's people around me, honestly. Just because it's really, it will automatically be in your mind. If you put yourself like a small amount of time every day, when you eat to do it, it will inspire you to do it for the rest of the day as well.
yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's an amazing concept. Obviously, I would like to keep in touch because it's not exactly what I do, because people, like my course, it was for weight loss. People who comes to me that really want to lose a lot of weight quickly. So everybody wants miracles without putting the work. Now, what I'm trying to say to everyone is to, okay, change the lifestyle, change the oil,
Yes.
change the salt, stop the sugar, and then little by little,
Yeah.
because you have people on a middle of pandemic to eat, because everybody is in anxiety. You know,
Yes.
here now we are without petrol, you know, so we're queuing
Yes.
hours to put the petrol, like in Venezuela. So, you know, I escaped from one country to come to the same thing here. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, the mindfulness, we need that. We need that in our life.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
and
I
yeah, we do
Absolutely.
a one-to-one session. Yeah, and
Yeah, I would love that.
I will something from you. So yeah.
Well, at the
Absolutely.
end of this meeting, guys, you're going to have a Maike information, so you can talk to her privately, of
Yes.
course, in a little meeting, and then you can discuss, you know,
Perfect.
everything.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. Recommend her now. So, you guys
All
have
in
any questions?
Barcelona. Yeah. In Barcelona.
Yes, I also live in Barcelona. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to make a trip there.
Yes.
We all need to go there.
Dr. Lee, do you have any more questions, guys, about what we're talking?
Well, for me, I think it's just too difficult to separate, well, when you're hungry,
Yeah.
like when you really are, your body's hungry, or you really think that you're hungry, because I could be hungry all day long.
I know.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I just eat with the eyes, you know, like I'm so foodie, you know. I go out with my husband to restaurant and I go for the truffles and I go for this. My husband doesn't eat anything like that. He just get a steak with chips, and I am looking at him like, okay, I am the crazy one here because I want to try this. So foodie. When I try a green tea tiramisu. That was amazing.
Oh,
So this is the
wow.
kind I do. Yeah, I'm gonna go and try something new. You know, I love it.
Well,
I love cooking at the
that's
moment.
what this video. I know you guys, so you know it will be very interesting for you guys to try all these techniques that Mike is giving us today. So,
Yeah.
Look at my journal. Mindfulness
Yeah.
journal.
Oh, love it.
So it says very nice things. It's so positive. It says, today I choose to smile and to be happy.
Love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we are also going to do a little exercise. So
Yes.
she's gonna take us through a little. So can you guys bring a little something to eat? Just little,
Yeah.
not too big, not too small. Just we can
Can
choose.
really be anything.
Just
Like
nuts.
yeah, I just have like a little nuts here.
No,
Can be anything.
Okay, I show you.
anything.
Very interesting. I'll show
Yeah.
you.
Lynn too. I hope Lynn is getting her food.
I'm gonna get something.
Good.
This is my
Big cake.
bedside table.
Oh,
Table.
that's amazing.
They made these cookies that I really love. I don't know. They have all these.
Mm.
Love.
I love them.
My husband.
I have this.
Ah, there you go, Lynn.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh, everybody has such nice food.
yummy.
Yeah, mine are sweet too. It's just a little sweet.
Okay, you follow me on Instagram then?
Sorry?
Follow me on Instagram? No.
I'm not sure.
No, probably not. Okay, so I will get it from Paula and I follow
Yes,
you.
exactly.
And-
Later we can
Okay, so
exchange.
now, Maike, you give us instructions and then we dive into it.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Perfect.
have you guys mute you again, so everyone will be silent today, okay? Me too. I'm gonna mute myself.
Eating in silence.
I can't do that. Impossible. My husband had the television and football.
Okay, I think I'm the only one that's not on mute now, right? You can hear me? Perfect. Okay, so whatever you have right now as your food, just unpack it if it's not yet unpacked, and take a little piece, like a little piece that would be enough for one bite, kind of, and take it in your hand. Like just place it in the palm of your hand like this. Everyone. Yes, perfect. Okay. And now just fully concentrate on this food that you have in the palm of your hands. Everything else vanishes. You just look on the food. And look at it as if you have never seen anything like that before. Maybe you can feel the weight in your hand. Maybe it is casting a shadow on your palm. And then really, really see it. Look at it with great care and attention. And basically let your eyes explore every part of it. Examine the highlights, where the light shines, and the darker parts, any folds, any ridges. Maybe you want to turn it around in your fingers. Turn it over between your fingers and explore its texture. How does it feel between your fingers? And if your mind wanders off, don't worry. Remember that this is all that meditation is about. Just bring back your attention to the object in between your hands, fingers. And congratulate yourself for noticing that your attention wandered off, because this is exactly what mindfulness is all about. And then hold it beneath your nose. What do you notice with each in-breath? Does it have a scent? Really try to smell it. And if it does not have a smell, notice that as well. And then slowly, without chewing or anything, slowly take it to your mouth and notice already how your arm exactly knows where to go. And notice what your tongue does to receive it. And without chewing, place it on your tongue and explore the sensations of having it on your tongue. And then very slowly, very consciously, take one bite without swallowing the food yet. Notice the effect on the object and in your mouth. Notice any tastes that it releases. And feel the texture as your teeth bite into it again. Continue slowly chewing, but still don't swallow yet. Notice what is happening in your mouth. Can you detect the first intention to swallow? Experience it with full awareness before you actually swallow the food. And notice what the tongue does to swallow. And then follow the sensations of swallowing. Consciously sense as it moves down your throat into your stomach. And if you don't swallow it all in one go, consciously swallow another time. And then notice what your tongue does after you have swallowed. And finally, spend a few minutes noticing the aftertaste of this eating. What does the absence of the food feel like? Is there an automatic tendency to look for another? And then return your attention back to our Zoom meeting. Yeah, so this is the example of how we can do mindful eating, how we can practice it. It's really following very consciously every little part of eating. And yeah, I don't know if you have noticed, but it's also, for me, the first time I've done it, like you suddenly realize some taste that you didn't even realize before. It even tastes so much better, actually. So this is also where my big motivation comes from. Like that I said earlier, whenever the food is really, really good, I especially want to do a meditation like that because the food even tastes better like that. So
Usually people say to you, the first bite is the best one, right? You
Mhm.
really feel, the
yeah.
flavor profile, food. But then you just start like, fast, So that's a problem.
Exactly.
If you do this exercise, every bite will be like the first one, right? Like you really enjoy, food, the taste, everything what it's doing to you and your body. So,
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
So you guys have any more questions?
No?
How do you feel?
Good, good. Yeah, I just don't think I can do this mindfulness when I'm eating because I just enjoy too much to be observing what I'm eating.
But this is how you can enjoy
I
the
will
food
try.
even more.
I will try, I promise. Yeah, but it was a nice experience.
Yeah, I think it's also I think it takes for sure also practice, right? Everything about mindfulness and meditation is all about consistency and practice. And the more often we do it, the easier it will get. I mean, in the beginning, of course, it's so difficult. Like I said, in the end, like there's an automatic tendency to grab another one, right? It's so hard. But yeah, the more we are connected between our mind and body, the easier it will get. The more we practice these type of mindfulness exercises, because it really reprograms our mind. It really reprograms the connection between the neurons. So it's not just something that happens in our thoughts. It's really in our mind. It changes. So we can really train our mind to be more mindful, to focus our attention, and know when we overeat, for example, know when we're hungry or not really hungry. Like it all takes time and practice.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I have to go. I have to know. I hope it's no more things so important like you've been saying. No more, because I have somebody to do something like a builder, and I have to open the door. But I would love to keep in contact. Okay.
Yes, let's keep in touch.
I love
So
Paula.
nice to meet you.
It was such a nice thing that I met her this year, and now I'm making so many
Thank you
friends
guys for
because
being here, and I hope you guys use these tips, and I'm gonna put the information from Maike again so you guys can contact her with your questions, and she'll be really, she'll be a great help in you guys, if anything.
perfect.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.